Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Casper, a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience, one night at a time. Get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/hamnation and using promo code HAMNATION at checkout. By ICOM. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation. And by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. Most in-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 329 for December 13th, 2017. We're building a transmit relay. Hello, everybody. It's K9EID, and we're here in the Ozarks this week. And I have lots of good things with the Pine Board coming up. Gordo's got a bunch of stuff, but let's go run around just a minute and see who all is here. Gordon, down in Costa Mesa, how are you? I bet it's warm there.
It is warm. I'm happy to report that our fires are slowly getting put out. 230,000 acres on this one fire near Santa Barbara. So we're hoping that that's going to be well soon. We have another fire watch warning tomorrow, so we're on duty.
Okay. Well, I'm having internet problems, it looks like here. George, how are you doing down in Mississippi?
Doing pretty good down here, Bob. It's just been kind of cool, but, you know, it's that time of year. Went to 2 transmitter sites today. Didn't want to, but making some rounds. Got another one to visit tomorrow, and I've got one of those big tubes that I'm going to be changing out. So, you know, that's always a fun time right there in itself. Anyway, we're going to talk a little more about balanced audio tonight. We talked about it last week, and I had a viewer bring something to my attention that I had forgot to mention. So we'll get a little update on that.
Okay, we'll look forward to that, especially balanced and unbalanced. I love it. And how are you doing, Don? Everything okay there?
Yeah, I think so. Hello, everybody. It's I'm still wearing. I've worn this ICOM jacket literally all day because it's not that cold here. But man, it was freezing in my office, and it's still freezing in here. But I'll tell you what's hot is that big WTWW shortwave. We're on 5085 and 12.105 right now. And Ted Randall sent me a text. Wanted me to remind everybody that the Classic Christmas Radio Picture Contest is still going on, and there are prizes, including a Heil Pro headset, the MFJ Cobweb, a 30-amp power supply, an ICOM ID51A Plus 2, and a car shortwave radio. Also, anybody calling in a Christmas greeting can get the WTWW Christmas QSL card, and it's a nice one. I'd show it to you, but it's just here on my phone. You probably have a hard time seeing it. I'll try, though. It's 833-390-5085. 833-390-5085 is the number to call to leave your message. And let's see if you can see the WT. Well, see, now it's on my phone and it's flipping around. I knew that wouldn't work, but nonetheless, it's a nice card, and go ahead and call them and you'll get one of your own, Bob.
All right. Very, very good. That's great. Well, we'll come back here for more stuff. We're going to build a relay, an antenna relay for the Pine Board to answer a lot of requests. But first, we got to go back to Costa Mesa, and Gordo's got a lot of good stuff. So take her away, Gordon.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. And we're getting ready for some real excitement tonight and bright and early tomorrow morning. But first, you had all asked as to what the Russian woodpecker sounds like. That was interference probably 30, maybe 40 years ago. Here's what the Russian woodpecker would have sounded like on 20 meters. Boy, am I glad that we don't have that going on right now. Well, tonight you're probably going to hear some, you might think, interference on your local repeater channel, or maybe on your FM stereo where you hear just bits and pieces of a word now and then. And it's all caused by this little guy right here. This is a meteorite that has come all the way through the ionosphere and the atmosphere, and it didn't quite burn up, and it's made up of iron and nickel. So let's take a look and see what's going to happen tonight and bright and early tomorrow morning with our upcoming meteor shower. Here we go. Well, the biggie is coming to town, and it is a rock comet that is trailing the annual Geminid meteor shower. And the meteor shower is due to peak at about 3 or 4 in the morning, local time, before the sun comes up. But as Don will tell you, he was spotting meteors last night, and I'll tell you, about a half hour ago on my 10-meter radio here, I was picking up a meteor contact that lasted about 2 whopping seconds. We're not going to be talking too much about FT8 or MSK 144 digital modes, because nothing beats doing a meteor scatter contact. And the Geminid's meteor shower should have at least one every 2 or 3 minutes that you can visibly see. And, you know, comets and meteors, when they're up there, many times they're bombarding Earth 24 hours a day. So let's take a listen and see what a contact might be. First of all, Geminids, coming up tonight and tomorrow, is the second largest meteor show that we're going to have. And it's going to be a great one. And we hope that beside being able just to see the upcoming Geminids, you'll be able to hear their effects over your ham radio set, even maybe just your FM radio. The meteors are about 100 kilometers up, and they are coming in and getting reflections off the E layer as they leave an ionized trail. And when we work meteor scatter, there's no long CQs, but rather a contact that might sound like this, or at least trying to make a contact as a shower is beginning.
Anybody else to the north? Kilo 7, shooting at Alpha. Kilo 7, Japan, America. Delta Mike 03.
That was it. Your call sign once or twice, give your grid square, and immediately you may get a contact. And that contact is coming off of the sporadic E layer, and on different bands, it may even be enhanced for a couple of seconds. But right now, we were hearing Chip K7JA attempting to make a meteor scatter contact. And, well, I tell you, when those contacts happen, they're pretty darn exciting. So the big deal is, unless you have a contact already scheduled, for voice, we're going to meet on probably the national calling channels. And here is what a contact sounds like, both one way as well as coming back. And you're going to hear the one operator saying that my signal is S2. That doesn't mean signal strength 2, but that means a longer ping for about 5 seconds. Well, I came back and I gave him a 5x9 because I was so excited after calling CQ for about an hour to finally have someone come back.
QRZ, WB6 Nancy, Ocean America, QRZ. KJ7F, WB6 NOA 5454, Delta Mike 13, over. Okay, where are you located? Wow, you're pounding in 5 and 9. Good luck.
Well, that was pretty exciting. Boise, Idaho, and that was a long burn. That was about an S3 burn. And you don't have long to carry on a conversation. So you immediately want to give your station ID, give them a signal strength reading or an S reading as to how long their signal is staying up, and enjoy all of the excitement that may be coming down. But don't expect that you're going to go coast to coast. Since the E layer is up about 100 kilometers, if you do the geometry, you're not going to be talking more than about 1,500 miles, and maybe only for a couple of seconds off of the Geminids meteor shower. But, you know, a couple of seconds talk, and that's pretty good. So let's take a listen and tune in to another type of CQ call, and you'll hear that it goes rather rapidly. Oh, wow. That's amazing, but that is a digital call, CW, high-speed CW, but could be by a hand key. And the other digital modes, MSK 144, is the mode that most folks will be using for the digital mode while trying to work meteors. Now, you'll find plenty of activity on the lowest band for technician class operators for voice, and that would be 28400. And just a few minutes ago, I heard a couple of fives talking back and forth on 28400 via meteor. They lasted only about 2 seconds. That would be an S1 report. But nonetheless, they were coming in. And all you need is just a simple dipole antenna, and you'll be rolling to be able to hear or work meteor. Now, you can either watch them outside, and again, the peak is probably going to be about 2 or 3 in the morning, but you'll get some like right now. This is all thanks to the 3200 Python, which is a asteroid rock that is accompanying the meteor showers, 10 million kilometers away, 5 kilometers in diameter. And that's the source of the Geminids. And you can actually see where that rock comet is by logging on to spaceweather.com. Spaceweather.com, and you'll learn all about that. Now, when you're monitoring for incoming meteors, no squelch. Turn your squelch off. And if you have digital signal processing, either built into the radio, as I do here with the ICOM 9100, or a DSP speaker that you can pick up at DX Engineering, you'll find that it'll really quiet down the background noise. You can also tune into aeronautical stations, and as they're getting ready to land, 75 megs is reflected off the meteor trail and comes in loud and clear. I heard it just a couple of hours ago for only about 2 to 3 seconds. Now, when you're looking for the Geminids meteor shower tonight, it's going to be just above Orion and Taurus. So go to spaceweather.com, and they've got all sorts of details on exactly where you can locate the incoming meteors. And if you have an FM music station, we suggest you tune in to one that is not on the air, just plain old noise. And out of nowhere on the FM music band, you'll hear stations. Yep, comes in wideband FM as well. If you have just a 2-meter FM radio, you can tune in to local repeaters. And if you've got a base station with a pan adapter and a waterfall display, all of a sudden you'll see just little brief pop-ups. And those are reflections from the ionized trail of the incoming meteor. Now, the second band to try is 50.125, but you're going to find that your contacts are about half as long as they would be on 28400. So 50.125 is another good spot to call CQ. But again, your CQ is very short because you want to be able to get the same station you're transmitting to be able to come back to you. You had a 3-element beam on 6 meters. That would be wonderful. But, you know, even just a mobile whip will many times do it. And if you have a weather station in your area, such as 162.550, don't tune it in, but rather tune in 162.400, 425, 162, or 462.450. And there, out of nowhere, the FM station will come in for about 2 seconds, and you'll be listening to incoming meteors. The highest band reliably is 144-200. There we operate single sideband, and there's digital up and in that area as well. Occasionally, there have been contacts on 432, but pretty unlikely that you're going to get any meteor scatter there. But there's Clint, and he was out there pinging away, listening for incoming meteors. And you can really see with the spectrum analyzer the effects of the 2-meter band when meteors will cause those signals to come back down again. So we hope all of you will, with your spectrum scopes, be able to tune in and see the very short bursts of meteor traffic. Try your CQ, but you know, just hearing calls coming in off of the Geminid meteor shower, that's pretty good.
Juliet Alpha, Kilo 7, Japan, America. Delta Mike 03, looking north.
And that's how the pros do it. They make their call very fast. So, in fact, that's our pro's house, KL7, A7JA, and he's got his whole setup lit up, including that big tall tower, and he's going to be beaming, I guarantee it, for the meteors off of that antenna that you can't quite see, but you wanted to see tower photos, you got them. So there you go. Thanks, Chip. So I hope all of you will have an opportunity to begin to operate on meteors tonight. If you can't operate, then go outside and watch them. In fact, I think Don has a story of spotting an incoming meteor last night, the beginning of the Geminids meteor shower. So Don, true story, you saw a big flamer go by?
Yeah, we did, Gordon. We were coming back from the, hello everybody, from the iHeartMedia New Orleans, where I work, Christmas party, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, I guess, going over Lake Pontchartrain, and big pretty moon up there, and then just whoosh, slash right past the moon. And my wife was in the car ahead of me because I was already at work, and she drove her car in from Mississippi to New Orleans for the party, and she missed it. I don't know how she missed it, but nonetheless, she did. But that's all right. A lot of other chances to go out and see those and work them on the radio as well. And, you know, if you're going to be up all night watching meteors and working meteor scatter, you're going to need a really good mattress tomorrow. And might I suggest Casper? Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper absolutely is revolutionizing the mattress industry, and what they're doing is they're cutting the cost of dealing with resellers and showrooms, and they're passing the savings directly to you, the consumer. And the Casper mattress is obsessively engineered, but yet they sell it to you at a very fair price. Casper combines multiple supportive memory foams for a sleep surface with just the right sink, just the right bounce, plus breathable design, sleeps cool, helps you regulate your temperature throughout the night. A Casper mattress will provide you long-lasting comfort and support, and you can buy it easily online and completely risk-free. Now, Leo Laporte, he has a Casper mattress, has had it for a while, and from what I understand, well, here's the unboxing video. Everyone loves unboxing videos, so you're going to watch Leo take the Casper mattress out and unbox it. Yeah, it comes in a box, and it just kind of inflates itself. It's not an air mattress by any means, but it's vacuum packed, and once you take it out of the bag, it just naturally goes back to where it was, and it doesn't take long at all, as you can see Leo here. Now here's the true test. Oh my, the Leo Laporte belly flop, and he rolls over. Oh, he stayed on the mattress, and it looks like he's either injured himself or he's passed out from glee from being on the Casper mattress. Leo loves it, and Casper understands the importance of really trying out a mattress, just like Leo did right there. Do your own belly flop, because really, if you go into a mattress store, laying on a mattress for 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever, does nothing, because you literally spend a third of your life on a mattress. And Casper offers free delivery and painless returns with a 100-day period, so you don't have to lie down in a showroom. Casper mattresses uphold the highest environmental production standards. They're made in the USA. Free shipping and returns to the U.S., Canada, and now the UK. And Casper recently introduced the Casper Wave mattress, features a natural geometry support system and a new top layer. You can find out everything you need to know about everything that Casper has by going onto their website, and that's casper.com/hamnation. And if you go to casper.com/hamnation, you can save an additional $50 towards a mattress purchase. It's casper.com/hamnation. Enter the promo code hamnation at the checkout. Casper.com/hamnation with promo code hamnation. You're going to love it just as much as Leo does. Terms and conditions apply. Casper Mattress, thank you so much for being a part of the Ham Nation family. Now, let's check into the news of the week and a solar update as well from Dr. T with Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2093, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, December 13th, 2017. We open this week with an update on the Canada C3 expedition vessel, the Polar Prince. It's completed its historic journey via the Northwest Passage, but its radio adventure is far from over.
The Polar Prince is heading home to Canada's east coast. The Canada C3 expedition vessel completed its 150-day journey to British Columbia via the Northwest Passage on October 28th, transmitting as CG3-EXP. That call sign has since been retired, but the ship will continue with its Ultimate 3 WSPR beacon, identifying as VE0-EXP now as it ventures east through the Panama Canal. Listeners with an HF receiver and the WSPR application can hear its signal and track its path on WSPR Net. The expedition credits Michael VE7XMC, a graduate student from the University of Victoria, with helping implement that changeover. Hams are especially encouraged to continue tracking the vessel. The expedition from Toronto to Victoria, with visits to 75 communities in between, marked Canada's 150th birthday. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
As you're enjoying the various Christmas parties, get ready for a QSO party with a new twist. Newsline's Christian Kudnick, K0STH.
The weekend of December 16th and 17th is set aside as the European Radio Amateurs Organization event on the air, which this year features operations on FT8, one of ham radio's newest modes. Make your contacts, exchange your call sign, locator, and give your signal report, but remember, it's not a contest. It's more like a radio meetup. There will be a certificate of participation for amateurs who send their log in with at least 10% of the QSOs confirmed. Logs are being kept to gather statistical data only and should be submitted in ADIF format to party@eurao.org, using your call sign as the name of the file. FT8 mode, which was still in beta testing mode this summer, is considered a good mode for HFDXing. It is often used in situations such as multi-hop E's, where openings may be short and signals may be weak and fading. QSOs can often be made quickly. This is the first party of its kind being held by the group, and members are hoping that FT8 will give hams something to celebrate.
In Canada, it's almost decision time. Officials are looking at handheld radio use behind the wheel.
On January 1st, the 5-year exemption permitting drivers' handheld use of two-way radios in Ontario, Canada, is set to expire. Radio Amateurs of Canada has been waiting to hear from the Ontario Ministry of Transportation about the fate of the exemption from the province's distracted driving law. RAC directors Alan Boyd, VE3AJB, and Phil McBride, VA3QR, had met with Ontario transportation officials earlier this year and declared the session productive, but are still awaiting word. The RAC has formed a committee to work with both Ontario and British Columbia, both of which have distracted driving regulations. In British Columbia, amateurs have been permitted since February of this year to drive while operating radios that have push-to-talk buttons. According to the RAC's website, there will be a decision on the Ontario regulations prior to the 1st of January, and the RAC has pledged to issue a bulletin as soon as there's an update. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Heather Emby, KB3TZD.
For the rest of this week's Amateur Radio News, please listen to the full Amateur Radio Newsline report online on a repeater near you or on shortwave radio station WTWW at 9930 and 5085 kilohertz. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF, Christian Kudnick, K0STH, Heather Emby, KB3TZD, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update with Dr. Tamitha Skov.
We have a coronal hole that's going to be rotating into the Earth strike zone here in the next few days, with yet another one coming in after that. And a bright spot on the sun gives some good news for you amateur radio operators. Those stories and more in the news this week. Space weather this week picks up just a little bit. We have 2 coronal holes, one of which is going to be rotating into the Earth strike zone here in the next day or so. It could send us some fast wind and bump us up to storm levels, followed by a second one that could once again elevate us up to storm levels, so we could get a good chance for aurora this week. Meanwhile, we also have 2 bright regions that have been rotating onto the Earth-facing disk, and they have bumped up the solar flux levels. We are back into marginal levels for you amateur radio operators, so radio propagation exists once again, and you should have that for about the next week or so, and that's really good news all the way around. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, you can see we are extremely low when it comes to X-ray flux, but back on the 10th, you can see it kind of rise a little bit. That's when we had that bright region return back into Earth view, and now we have 2 bright regions. One of them is region 2691, and that's allowed the X-ray flux and the solar flux to rise a bit. We are now back into marginal levels when it comes to radio propagation, so you amateur radio operators have got to be thrilled. And this condition will last easily for the next 7 to 10 days until these regions rotate off of the Earth-facing disk. Switching to your solar storm conditions, you can see the last time we actually had a decent solar storm was clear back at the beginning of December. Since then, we've had some close encounters with some fast wind, but the coronal holes were pretty much too far north, and so instead of getting hit with the fast wind, we just got grazed by it, which kept us at unsettled conditions and even bumped us up to active conditions for a very short while, and we've since settled back down into unsettled conditions, but we do have yet another chance for some storm levels here in the next few days when a new coronal hole rotates into the Earth strike zone. Switching to your solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are kind of in a lull right now, but we are anticipating that coronal hole to rotate into the Earth strike zone and will be sending us some more fast wind. So right about the weekend, we're expecting to reach at high latitudes minor storm conditions with about a 20 to 30% chance of a major storm. At mid latitudes, we're only expecting active conditions, but we do have a small chance for a major storm. It all depends upon how this wind hits us and how strong the wind is coming out of this coronal hole. And this period here going into the weekend and into next week is going to start an intermittent period of storming for us easily over the next week. Switching to your solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, everything is still in the green. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is the way it is for solar flares, folks, which is good news for you amateur radio operators and you GPS enthusiasts, because we have no threat for radio blackouts right now. The even better news is that we do have 2 active regions on the Earth-facing disk, which has bumped up the solar flux and put us back in the yellow, back into marginal conditions. For you amateur radio operators, propagation is hanging in there, and this should last easily for the next 7 to 10 days as these regions transit the Earth-facing disk before things begin to tank once again. So good news, and enjoy the quiet. So the space weather is finally picking up just a little bit this week. We have 2 coronal holes that'll be rotating into the Earth strike zone, and unlike the previous coronal holes, these ones are a little bit better positioned to actually give us some storming at Earth. So your aurora photographers should be very happy because we have more chances for aurora easily in through this weekend and into the next week. Now your radio operators are probably very happy too, because we have 2 new bright regions that are rotating into Earth view. That means the sun is dialing up the brightness for you. But we don't have any threat for radio blackouts, so you GPS enthusiasts are also loving it because it's reasonably quiet. So it looks like there's good news all around, and it's just another sunny day in space. I'm Tamitha Skov. Thank you for watching.
You know, if you enjoy the Tamitha Skov solar weather reports, and I know you do because I see it in the chat room all the time, be sure to follow her on Twitter, at Tamitha Skov. You can also check her out at spaceweatherwoman.com and send her a tweet telling her how much you enjoy it and appreciate her. She would love to see that, I'm sure, and you would get a lot of great information by following her on Twitter and also on Facebook, and check her out on YouTube as well. She live tweets all the time, and she will go up on Periscope and do a couple of hours just talking about solar weather, and just amazing. A lot of the same stuff she talks about here on Ham Nation when she's live, which is very, very cool. We need to get her back on live again very soon. There it is, spaceweatherwoman.com, and on Twitter at Tamitha Scove. Thanks, Dr. T. We appreciate you. Coming up on Ham Nation tonight, we've got the contest corner with Valerie coming up. Of course, Amanda with the chat room. George is going to, Bob's going to talk about Pine Board a little bit, and George will have some more stuff too right after we hear a word from these folks right here. ICOM.
Happy HF holidays. Looking for the perfect gift to put under the tree this holiday season? Unwrap one of ICOM's HF transceivers. The gift every ham wants, ICOM's new 7610 arrived just in time to make it to Santa's sleigh. This high-performance RMDR has the ability to pick out the faintest signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The new ICOM IC7610 is a direct sampling software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of a SDR transceiver. RF direct sampling system, 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receivers, and dual digicell. A gift for you or your favorite contester, IC7300 is a high-performance HF transceiver with a compact design. Don't miss a weak signal with the combination of the waterfall function and real-time spectrum scope. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. Visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur for more information on all the great ICOM radios this holiday season.
And you can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation and register to win great swag prizes like T-shirts and hats. While you're there, learn how you can win in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. And for December, that new radio is going to be the compact and submersible ICOM ID31A Plus. It's a 5-watt UHF digital transceiver with built-in GPS, micro SD card slot. Of course, it does both analog and D-Star, and it's got automatic D-Star repeater lift-up function, and a lot more. So go to ICOMAmerica.com/HamNation after this and each episode of Ham Nation and register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow ICOM America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks, ICOM. And, you know, last week we talked a little bit about unbalanced audio. We brought back a segment out of the archives from a few years ago that I did about how you'd connect an unbalanced microphone a balanced microphone or a mixer with a balanced output to our ham rigs, which are virtually all unbalanced. It's simple to do, but there's just a few tips that you need to know to help you pull this off. So I presented that last week. Well, there's one little item that I forgot to mention in there that our friend of the show here, Hal Welch, WA1ZJL, sent me an email and reminded me of this, and I knew about it. And I didn't mention it, but I probably should, because some of you could run up across this. And there's different kind of balanced output stages depending on the technology that was used on the particular mixer or whatever you're using. First off, though, if we're using a balanced microphone, you know, it's got a plus, a minus, and a ground, and you're always going to have to connect to the plus and the minus and the ground as well in order to make it work. And as we said, the plus can go to the hot lead on the microphone input, and the shield and the negative lead, both are tied together and go to ground or to common. Now, balanced audio cables with a mixer output, you can do the same way. Just connect the minus to ground and use the plus as a signal lead. And that's with traditional balanced audio equipment. However, in more recent years, there have been some changes in the way that balanced audio gear is built. Back in the early days, everything had an output transformer in it. The amplifier would feed into the primary of a transformer, and then the secondary of that transformer would go on out and feed whatever your gear was. In that case, it's going to work just like we said a moment ago. You're going to need to connect that negative to your ground, and the positive you can use as the microphone lead there. Now, since that time, there's been a few changes, particularly with op amps. There's been some new ways to do this. And right here is a differential line driver, which would be the same as a balanced output. You can see there's two op amps, or two sections of an op amp here. We've got our audio signal comes in, and then it goes up here to the positive on one of the op amps, and it goes down here to the negative on the other op amp. So what's going to happen there is the output of this first op amp is going to be a positive signal. The output of the bottom op amp, since it's going in the inverting input here, it's going to be an inversion of that signal. So essentially, the top op amp is going to give us this. The bottom op amp is going to give us this. When you put the two together, you're going to have that. Well, you know, we had been talking about connecting the negative lead there to ground. Well, if you do that in this case, where you've got op amps making your balanced output, you're going to be shorting one of those op amps to ground. And since there's no transformer here, you know, in the case of the transformer, you've got to use both leads on the secondary there. However, when you've got an active circuit like this, you don't have to use both because both of them have the signal on it. It doesn't need the second one or the other one to produce any output. So if you're using something with op amp output, then really you only need to hook up either the positive or the negative to be your microphone lead. Your ground will just be, you know, the ground for the circuit. Otherwise, you know, you're shorting out an op amp here, which is probably not the best thing to do. And there's really no benefit to doing it either. Now, there's a couple of different ways, or really probably more than that. But you can see here in this circuit, they're taking the same signal. They're sending it to the positive input on one op amp and the negative input or inverted input on the other op amp to get the two polarities of signal. Well, another way that can be done is they take the signal in and they go into, say, the negative on one op amp here. They come out here and they've got a negative output. They take the output of that op amp, run it down to the inverted input on the other op amp here, and then they've got right the opposite of whatever you put in. So this way you can get negative on one side, positive on the other. Same situation though. You only need one of those to feed the microphone input on your rig, because if you short one of the others out, you know, it's just shorting an op amp out to ground. So unbalanced audio cable, well, if you're coming out of a mixer that has op amps in it or an active balanced type of output, no transformer, then choose either the positive or the negative. Both do not need to be connected. Choose one or the other. You can't tie the two together. That's not going to work. That's just going to cancel out and you're not going to have any signal at all. So choose one or the other. Use that as your microphone lead and, of course, you know, your shield for your ground here. And the case of using a pot on it, you know, like I did on mine here to give me some attenuation or a way to adjust your signal level, same thing. Choose either the positive or the negative, not both. leave the other one alone. Just don't terminate it. You only need to run one up here to the pot. The other side of the pot is tied down to ground. And then the final case here, this is the way I've done it on all my rigs. It's not required that you use a transformer. There are some benefits to it, though. The transformer is going to give us isolation from hum if our two pieces of gear happen to be at different potentials. Also, it'll help prevent RFI from crossing over there as well. So if you've got a good transformer, certainly I recommend using it. May not be necessary in your case, however, in others, it may be the only thing that cures your RFI problem. So when you're doing that, of course, you're going to have to use the positive and the negative coming out of your mixer, whether it's a transformer output or whether it's an active balanced output, say using op amps. You got to use both. One goes to either side of our primary there on the transformer, and then just connect it, as we showed last week. This is the way I like to do it. Not required, maybe a little over the top in some installations, but if you got the transformer, certainly doesn't hurt to use it unless it's, a really bad transformer. They're not all created equal. Some got a little better bandwidth than others, but really, if you're only trying to pass 3 kilohertz or so, then doesn't have to be a super high fidelity transformer. But there you go. If it's an active balanced output using op amps, you don't need to tie one side to ground. Just let that side float. And that'll do it. Okay, last week I asked a question out of one of Gordo's books here, and, well, it was a good question. One Gordo had flagged for me here. As you can see, there's a lot of them he's flagged here. This one was, what signal source is connected to the vertical input of an oscilloscope when checking the RF envelope pattern of a transmitted signal? Is it the local oscillator of the transmitter? Is it an external RF oscillator? Is it the transmitter balanced mixer output? Or is it the attenuated RF output of the transmitter? Well, Paul Spurbeck knew. WB9HCO said that it's the attenuated RF output of the transmitter, and that is correct. We've shown that before here. It's probably been a few years, so we might want to revisit that again and look at how to connect an oscilloscope to view the output of your rig. So congratulations to WB9HCO, Paul. Question came out of Gordo's General Class Study Guide, the best study material for your amateur radio exam. Well, I'm not going to give away that book this week, but I'm going to give away one of Bob's microphones. This is what I promised you last week. This is what we're going to give away. It's the Heil Gold Elite microphone. It's a dual element microphone. It's got a narrow and a wide position toggle switch here, so you can choose which element is being used. Flip that over to narrow if you want to break a pile up and work a contest or a DX station, any number of things where you're competing with others, maybe tough signal conditions. Flip it over to narrow, and that'll help you cut right on through. Or if you're rag chewing, flip it to wide for good, rich audio, comfortable listening in cases where you're not competing with a lot of other folks. You got good propagation between you. Why not let the other fella hear good quality audio coming from you? So you can take your choice. Dual purpose microphone here. There's also a push button switch on it. It's a ham radio microphone. What do you think that would be for? Well, it's push to talk. So this is the only handheld pro style microphone that I know that's got a push to talk button on it. So you can just grab this, use it alone. You don't need a foot switch or any kind of external keying. It's all right here in the microphone. And of course, Heil's got adapter cables to make it fit whatever rig you want to connect it to. Thanks, Howl Sound, for supplying that Howl Gold Elite microphone. I know that Paul's going to enjoy it, and we'll be getting that right out to you, Paul. For next week, I've got another question here. And since we were talking about balanced audio, I thought I'd try to pick something here sort of in context with that. Here's a connector that you see a lot in audio. As a matter of fact, this is the same connector that fits on the back of a microphone with balanced audio on it. It's real popular. They're used all over the place. A little tab here you push down to release it with. This one is a female version of the connector here. There's three possible names that someone might call this connector right here. I want to know what those three names are. If you think you know it, then send those three names to me at hamnationcontest@gmail.com, and you might win this MFJ 270 Guardian Angel surge suppressor. It's a gas tube block surge suppressor. Put it in series in your coax. It's good for DC to 1 gigahertz. This is the standard SO239 PL259 version here. Good for 400 watts PEP. They also make a Type N version that's good for 1500 watts PEP. So, these work great. Of course, you got to hook a ground to it, but it's a little extra protection there for your gear. It helps drain off that static surge. Maybe some lesser lightning surges. This will block it right here from reaching your gear. The MFJ 270. All right, so tell me, what are the three names that I might call this connector right here? hamnationcontest@gmail.com. And I believe Don is still here, and Don's got, it's getting close to Christmas. Don, where could I find some good Christmas gifts for my ham buddies?
Wow, I have no clue whatsoever, George. Maybe DX Engineering, do you think, perhaps? If you're in a panic about finding just the right gift for an amateur radio enthusiast in your family, or if you're, laying subtle or not so subtle little hints to the people who love you in your life, well, relax, because DX Engineering makes it easy and convenient to get your holiday shopping done in plenty of time. Everything you need is in this catalog and on that website you're looking at right now. And the one gift, no matter whether you're into microwave or HF or meteor scatter or doesn't matter, the one gift that fits every ham and fits in a stocking is the DX Engineering gift card. One size fits all present that every ham will love. Order your gift cards online or by phone in denominations from $25 to $500, and let your family and friends find just exactly what they want. Or, if they're trying to figure out what you want, just say, hey, give me that gift card. They can be redeemed for the entire face value, or you can use them in part for later use. DX Engineering also offers rugged Nanook equipment cases that shield gear from the harshest weather. A thoughtful gift for hams who care about keeping their sensitive equipment in top shape. And yeah, you can go out and find much cheaper equipment cases like this. I went to Harbor Freight the other day, and there was some ultra cheap ones. But are you going to put a very expensive piece of gear you wouldn't trust your iPhone to a baggie if you're going to be going near the beach or going scuba diving? You need the right equipment for the job. And if you need to keep sensitive electronics like your antenna analyzer or whatever safe from bumps and jolts and everything, then get yourself a Nanook equipment case. They absolutely shield your gear from the harshest weather, and it's a great gift for the ham who cares about keeping their sensitive stuff in top shape. These things are engineered and manufactured to stringent military specifications. Nanook, N-A-N-U-K, Nanook equipment cases. They're watertight, impact resistant, crush-proof, dust-proof. They're built with strong but lightweight NK7 resin and 100% stainless steel hardware and power claw latches to make sure your gear stays safe inside. And inside is where you need it. when the harsh conditions come along. Nanette cases come in a variety of sizes, configurations, and colors, from lime green to orange and basic black as well, with options including customized foam inserts and dividers. Nanook, you're going to love those things. Those are amazing. DX Engineering also carries a wide range of official apparel and collectibles featuring the famous DX Engineering logo. Choose from men's and women's T-shirts, polo shirts, 24-hour wall clocks, coffee mugs, ball caps, tote bags, pocket pads, more. I've got a DX Engineering mouse pad right here. I've got the Note Cube. I've got a DX Engineering 24-hour clock up here, right here in my shack. It's the best stuff. They also offer a new portable 10x10 canopy shelter. Sturdy metal frame shelter collapses down for easy transport and a carrying bag, which is included. Then the 3Y0Z Bouvet Island DXpedition is scheduled for early 2018. And DX Engineering is a proud sponsor of this absolutely once-in-a-lifetime event. Plus, they have everything you need to break through the pileups and log this rarest of rare contacts, the most remote spot of land on the planet, including amplifiers, transceivers, headsets, pan adapters, every accessory you can think of to get to Bouvet and get Bouvet in your log. Don't miss out on Bouvet Island because of poor coax either. If you've been relying on old, ineffective cable, it's time to upgrade now with DX Engineering DXE 400 Max low-loss cable. The official provider, DX Engineering, is of coaxial cable for Bouvet. While you're on the air, enjoy your favorite beverage in a DX Engineering Bouvet Island DXpedition mug, featuring the official seal of the Bouvet Island DXpedition on one side and the DX Engineering logo on the other. What a great thing to enjoy your coffee with in the morning while you're, I don't know, looking for Bouvet or just hanging out on 160 like I like to do. DX Engineering ships faster than anybody else in the industry. Most orders placed by 10 p.m. Eastern are shipped the same day. Proven products, expert advice. DX Engineering helps you shrink the globe. Request a catalog. Shop online 24/7, 365 at dxengineering.com/hamnation. And if you ever need to talk to them, call them on the phone. They have the most knowledgeable tech support people in the business. And in fact, the whole DX Engineering gang is right there on the back of the catalog. dxengineering.com/hamnation, dxengineering.com/hamnation, and DX Engineering. We love you guys to death, and thank you for your support. There they are. There's the whole DX Engineering gang. Look at that. It's a great-looking bunch, isn't it? Look at Mel right there in the middle there. Melly. Yep, there's Mel. She's in the chat room probably. Hi, Mel. I see you right there with your smiling face. Let's go check out Bob Heil's smiling face now with more on the Pine Board.
Well, if we can keep our internet signal up here, I've got some things happening, but I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't know what's going on tonight, but we're going to build a relay. That's the whole deal. And before I do that, got a Christmas card, both Gordo and I, from the Deer School. Remember, we had all the Deer's kids on? And they signed the card, which I thought was really cool. And then they sent us a picture. Look at this, of all these wonderful guys and gals. Is that cool? That's the Deers bunch, and we appreciate that very, very much. Well, let's get on to it here. We made a major change to get this relay happening. There's one thing we could have done, and I do it quite often. I got about 6 of them in here, is you go do it with a Dow key relay, which is one of these guys. But they're hard to find, made back in the 50s and 60s. They still make them, but they're horribly expensive. And you can find them at Hamfest, though. You look around. But I figured, no, we're going to do it differently. We're going to do it on pine board. We'll get into it here in a minute, but this is pretty cool, and I'll get to it in a second. But here's the major trick. We had to make a little adapter, not even an adapter. We had to change some things on the pine board, and this is very important. We had to add, this isn't plugged in, of course. We had to add this little guy and bring 110 volts from the regular 110 volt lead and the power supply, brought it up through the cable, and that's 110 volts right there. Thank goodness it isn't plugged in. These two go up to a switch. Now, you remember we had originally just a single pole, single throw switch. to turn the transmitter on and off. Well, that has been changed now to a double pole. And why we did that is one pole of it, the single pole, it's a double pole single throw. One of the poles turns the B plus on as normal. The other pole now turns on the 110 volts that goes to the relay. So now let me get this backed up here, and we'll get this little guy up to you. Let me lay this over here. Hang on. Okay. Here we go. And I got to thank Gene, the wonderful artist that does all the great drawings. He came up with a pretty clever idea. There's so many ways we can hook this up, but he had a really cool way. I'll show you in a minute. But what I did here is I have an SO239 for the antenna. This is an SO239 going back to the transmitter, to the pine board. This is the receiver. That's an RCA. A lot of receivers use, if they don't use RCA, they're going to use just regular terminal two wires. And then the relay. Now the relay, I got my relay from Gateway Electronics in St. Louis. There's a number of places you can find them. And if you haven't ever checked with Gateway, you might want to do it. They have a lot of parts. And just call them. Forget the internet. Come on, guys and gals. Pick up the telephone and tell Lisa that you want a double pole, single throw, but we could maybe need a 3-pole. And here's why. Let me get into the drawing and show you what we've done. This is outlines the whole deal. Here's the deal as we started out. When we had the transmitter going, we only used that switch to control the B plus. Remember? That turns the transmitter on. But we now changed that switch to a double pole, 2-pole. So one side of it turns the 110, I just showed you on the terminal strip. It turns 110 volts on to the 110 volt coil in the relay. And so you flip the switch, it keys to B plus, turns on the relay. And what happens with the relay? We're taking the antenna and we're moving it up, of course, to the transmitter and here, and then the receiver up here. You also could put, you could have another pole. There's 4 poles in this relay that I'm using. And so Gene said, why not put a pilot light on it if you wanted to do that? And here's how it lays out. This really shows you some great artistry of Gene. This will give you the whole detail right here. And it works really well. We're coming in here. The 2 leads to the coil on the relay. That's 110 volt coil. Comes down to the strip. This is the key to this particular side of the relay is a key to the pilot light if you want it. But then what happens here, you're going to follow along. The antenna, we come out of there and we go up to that. That's the common, and that will either switch to the transmitter when we energize it, or when it goes back up, it takes the antenna signal and puts it here, which comes over here and feeds to receiver. When you transmit and you turn the power onto this, it grounds the receiver. That's a very cool thing. That's a thing that Gene thought of, and I think that's really a good idea. So when that relay engages in the transmit side, you're grounding the input to the receiver so you won't cause any damage to that receiver. We'll go back to that schematic and follow that again. It really is a neat idea, and you'll want to do those kind of things to protect everything. But right here is what happens. In the receiver side, when the transmitter is on, this would go down and bingo, it grounds the receiver. That's really cool. So that's a nice circuit. It works really well. We'll look at that again. And here you go with the antenna, the transmitter, and the receiver. And I used a mounting. Remember we did that. Gene has some really good drawings of how I did that. How are you going to mount them on a piece of pine board? And you do it with number 14 solid wire. And that works great. The relay is to cement it to the board. And that's the relay. And this will work for a lot of things. A lot of QRP guys are wondering, how are we going to make this thing work? Well, they build all these nice QRP transmitters, and they don't have a way to key it. There it is, and that works really well. We'll have all these drawings up on the schematic part of the website, heilsound.com, and go down to the pine board portion, and you'll be able to see all of these nice pictures and things like that. But that answers a lot of questions for you. And anything else I can do, as you know, all you got to do is email me, and I'm getting a bunch of emails. And what's really cool, I got one yesterday. This is Virginia. There's all her parts laid out for the transmitter. There's what you got to do. Lay them all out. Compare them to the parts list that we have on the site. And she's ready to go. I think she needs her coil from MFJ. I talked to them today. There's been a lot of back and forth about that. They do have the coil. Please call MFJ and order the coil from the 811, and you got it. They'll know what you're talking about. They're not going to cut it for you. You'll have to do that. That's no big deal. But we tell you how to do all that. You should have had that. If not, it's on the website. You need 41 turns of that coil. So MFJ does have the coil, and they're ready to take your order, and away you go. There's many other ways to hook that up, and we'll talk about it in other shows, but wanted to start on it and let you see what we're going to do for the relay. And everything should be up and running soon. I'm on the air with mine quite a bit, and it works really good. I got a note also from Bill in 4DH, and he made his first contact. And, of course, it's like the first contact you made when you're a novice. Trust me, you got to build this. I heard some guys the other day on that there's a whole club down, I think it's South Carolina. The whole club's building them. So we've caused the sensation right here on Ham Nation. And the magazine came out yesterday to most of the mailboxes, QST, the front cover. We'll get into that next week. We'll talk about that. So we're going to move over to Val because she's got some really great news. And Val, how are you doing today in Illinois? Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's great. Doing good. It sounds like Antarctica here because the winds are probably gusting at 50 miles an hour out here, and it's very cold. But yeah, we're hanging in there. Hey, I remember a couple weeks ago when I was on, I think it was Don that was talking about Bryant, Kilo Golf 5 Hotel Victor Oscar. He's going to WRTC in 2018, and he was looking for a way to raise money, and he was doing those postcards. Well, I got hold of them, and I had to make me Christmas cards. They turned them into Christmas cards, so I just got them in. I'm going to be sending them out, but I don't know if there's still time for you guys to order some of this stuff and get it in time to get it out the door for Christmas, but good way to help him earn some money for WRTC. And Brian's also one of the co-pilots on the upcoming Bouvet DXpedition 3Y0 Zulu. And so that's going to be fun, having Bryant on board with that. Yeah, a little bit of DX coming up. No contest, really. I mean, we're getting into the Christmas season. So go ahead, Victor, and roll my DX video. And this is the DX Files with NV9L. I'm going to narrate live for you. Mauritania, 5 Tango 1 Alpha and 5 Tango 1 Romeo. That's going to be going on now through December 20th. A little bit on the island. It borders the Atlantic Ocean and to the west, and Mali's to the east. Almost all of that island is in the Saharan Desert, yet they still have 3.7 million people on that island. Most are nomads. Also coming up, we've got Barbados, 8 Papa 0 Victor Romeo, and that one's going to start on the 17th and go to the 31st. Now, that's part of the Lesser Antilles Islands. It's pretty small, 21 miles by 14 miles, and originally discovered back by the Spanish navigators, and they claimed it for their crown in the early 1500s. Now, it's mostly UK tourists, but a lot of Americans go there as well. Ogasawara's coming up Christmas Eve to January 2nd, and that's Juliet Delta 1 Bravo Mike Hotel, and that's comprised of some islands. Bonin Island is the biggest one. There's also the Volcano Islands and 3 remote islands. It's only 40 square miles, and it's about 1,100 kilometers from Japan, and population 3,000. South Cook Islands, that one's going on now through December 29th. That's Echo 51 Delta X-ray X-ray. And the South Cook Islands, the more popular one. The North Cook one's is the harder one to get. That's 10 islands, 3 uninhabited, probably because one is an actual reef below the surface of the water. It's got about 13,000 people, 10,000 of which are on Rarotonga, and that's where Echo 51 Delta X-ray is going to be. X-ray is going to be broadcasting from. Sierra Leone, 9 Lima, stroke Kilo Whiskey 4 X-ray Juliet. Now, I have no date on that one because he's working while he's there, and so I'm not really sure when that's going to be ending. Maybe he doesn't even know how long he's going to be there, but Sierra Leone got their independence from Great Britain back in 1961, and they actually have 16 ethnic groups, all with their own language. I can't even imagine what government paperwork looks like with all that language, the many languages on it, but obviously that's where diamonds come from. And Echo 44 Yankee Lima, she is going to be broadcasting from Bethlehem, Palestine, kind of appropriate for this time of year. And she's there now, and she's only going to be there till the 18th. She's mostly on RIDI, but she's been on other modes as well. That's obviously the birthplace of Jesus. And you can see those 2 pictures at the bottom. That's the inside and the outside of the Church of Nativity, which many Christians make their pilgrimage to each Christmas. It's mostly Muslim, but there's still a significant Christian population there. And Bethlehem is about 25,000 people. And here's the most important DX of all, right? The Santa Net. Now, that's on every night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on 3.916. So grab your children or grandchildren, and they can get a chance to talk with Santa Claus himself and tell them 2 to 3 of their top gifts that they want to get on. Now, if you want to check in early, you can at tailgatorsnet.com. And then NORAD, you know, they have for 60 years now, and this year's no exception. They're going to be doing that Santa track on Christmas Eve. So you can go to noradsanta.org, or you can, if you're going to be on the road with your kids, download it on your phone. They actually have a Track Santa app now on the Google Play Store or on your iPhone. So that's kind of cool. Now, as far as the certificates go, we are so sorry, everybody. We have not been able to get that website up, so I'm going to do these all by hand. So if you guys are waiting for that certificate, email me, nv9l@arrl.net, and I will send you off the certificate or the certificate with the clean sweep award. I do have the master log, so I know how many contacts you made, so I could figure it out from there, but make sure you send me an email. And I thought I'd do this, a ham radio hack. You know, here's a simple hack. If you want to double the range of your HT, you can just add a little wire up there, right where you connect your rubber ducky. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. One guy used a guitar string and it worked. So I'm going to try and do a cool ham radio hack or a ham shack hack or an antenna hack. You know, just send me any cool hacks that you have, maybe for Go Kits, mobile, whatever, nv9l@arrl.net, and I will try and feature your ham radio hack each week. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And that's all I've got for this week because it's kind of slow. Holidays coming up, not a lot of contests. I mean, there's a lot of little contests. You can always go to that calendar and figure that out. Did you miss the last part of my video? Victor? There you go. You know, this week Star Wars comes out, so I thought I'd put a little may the propagation be with you in there.
Sorry about that.
Amanda, are you all ready for the big Star Wars opening this Friday? Yay!
I am. I love Star Wars. I have a Star Wars cup. I've got a Star Wars shirt on. This is from the 1977. Not that I was born in 1977. I was actually born in 78. It doesn't matter. Once you become a Star Wars fan, you are a fan for life. So, and it's always a yearly thing for Jeff and I. It's a big deal for us to go. Of course, I do not cosplay and go to the movie dressed as Princess Leia or anything like that. That would be weird. But I do. I absolutely love Star Wars. And I think it's thanks to my dad because he always loved it. And Harrison Ford, who didn't imagine him as your boyfriend. So that being said, I heard some mention of Bouvet Island. So Val, don't go away. I don't know if you heard this or not today, but they had kind of a major earthquake around there today. Did you see that in the news?
Yeah, it was a 6.5 earthquake. I did see that. Yeah, it's kind of scary, but they get them every now and then. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully everything's intact and they can still go out there and operate. I don't know if they have to do recon before those things. How does that work? Do they do another team, send them out there before the real team goes, or
no,
it
it's too expensive to get there. What they're doing, though, they're bringing one of the biggest experts who's been to that island more than anybody else. He's a scientist. They're bringing him with them, and he's going to go onto the island first and pick out an operating site to make sure they're not on any, because they're going to be operating on a glacier. So they want to make sure they're not on any kind of crevasses or anything, and there's no risk of avalanches. Maybe that 6.5 earthquake shook off any possible avalanches that could be happening. So maybe that was a good thing in hindsight. But yeah, so no, they can't go out there and check it out. Too expensive to get there. 14 days each way by boat.
Oh yeah, I can understand that's way too expensive then. Not to mention very time consuming. So with that, Bob, we had a question for you. KK4EWT wanted to know, could you please explain the pilot light that you were talking about?
The pilot light is just a simple 6-volt bulb and number 47. There's a whole bunch of different numbers, but because of the different bases. But it's a pilot, just a little bulb that's in a lot of these radios. Yeah, some of them have LEDs today, and you could do that. But we have 6 volts coming from the filament line that feeds all the filaments. So it's real easy to put like a number 47 bulb or any kind of a light. You can find them at even a car place if you have an O'Reilly or one of those nearby. Any kind of a bulb like that would work. But they actually, Antique Radio Supply, they actually have bases and jewels, all different colors and stuff like that. And then you'll know when it's on. We actually have one, and if you remember, it's in the power supply of the pine board that I built. So it's just a pilot light to let you know the thing is on.
Well, very good. And everyone needs to know that what they have is working and is on. So, all right, one other question we had from Nietzsche, KA1ULN. She says, which external battery do most people prefer to have for their KX3? I don't know. Who wants to take this? George, you want to take this?
I don't have a KX3, so I really don't know. Sorry. If Gordo was here, he would probably say one of those Bio-Inno batteries.
That's what I was thinking. The KX3s are usually QRP, so low power. Just a simple 12-volt, 24-volt battery should do the trick. And if you want to have fun with it, put a little small solar panel with it. Keep it charging while you're operating. It should be fun. All right, that's all the questions I have for tonight. So let me get to some announcements. We have all the nets. We have 7192 for the HF net, and on we're going to do the 80 meter net tonight, you guys. W7UDI is going to be hosting that. And let's see, Bob, is this an approved frequency? 3898. Is that good?
30. He's going to be at 3898.
Yes, sir.
There's a bunch of nets running through there, so just have to try and just make sure you don't get stomped in the middle of somebody's net. I know there's a bunch on 3895, 3898, but if you get in there before they start, why, you'll be okay.
Well, very good. Let's go over the other nets. We have D-Star and 14 Charlie, and we also have DMR on TAC 311. And let's not forget Echolink on Dewdrop In. And someone had asked me the number node of that, and that is 355800. 355800. So get on those, and we hope to hear you all. And don't miss those Santa nets. They're pretty cool, too. I love to listen to them. It's pretty cute to hear everyone tell Santa what they want for Christmas. So with that, that's all I have. I'll send it back to you, Bob.
Yeah, 3898's clear if he gets on there right now. They're kind of a late night group. So there you go. In fact, I can jump on real quick when we finish.
And we need to talk about the best of,
that?
too, don't we?
Oh, that's
right. You guys
right.
need to vote for the best of for the twit for the Christmas to New Year's week.
Right. Please do that. Please. Victor, can you bring up the address of where they have to go that they can put their vote into the best of? That would be very helpful.
Twit.tv/best of.
It's what?
Twit.tv/best of.
Twit.tv/best of. That's pretty simple. Okay. Yeah, let's make sure that we get Ham Nation involved in this. So let them know what your best show is. And, you can go to Google. I just found this the other day. I should have brought this up. You can go to Google and put in there Ham Nation shows. I think I put all of the shows or something. They're all listed, and it tells you what the number, who was on it. It's pretty cool. And so that might be something that you want to do. We had to find one particular show, and by golly, it's there. Good old Google. They have all of them listed, so you might want to try that. Well, thanks a lot for being here tonight, everybody. There you go. That's part of them. Good deal. I appreciate you being here. Next week, I'll be back in Illinois. Hopefully, I have a better signal. I don't know what's going on here tonight, but we're at least somewhat there. But getting ready for Christmas, trust me, I have lots of these wonderful sweaters. Some are pretty, some are ugly. This is my Jerry Garcia sweater, though.
I love it, Bob. It looks great.
Yeah. And a funny thing about this, and it's not funny. I've done this for years, as a lot of you know. All during December, I wear sweaters. I have a whole bunch of Christmas sweaters. And then you'll go into the grocery store. I was in a dentist's office today to get an appointment set up. No matter where you go, everybody smiles and they laugh and they're just happy. They see the sweater and they talk about it. Well, when I take them off on the 26th of December, everybody becomes grumpy again. So I guess my goal is to make the other 11 months everybody happy. So that's what we do here. Hopefully on Ham Nation is make everybody happy. And I understand next week you're going to have a review of the great 7610. If we would have had enough time, we could have done it tonight, but we're way over as it is. Leo's going to kill us. But next week it will be a feature. So be sure and tell your friends. The 7610 is shipping. I worked 2 of them this afternoon, and boy, they sound great. So get ready to go. Well, we will close it up for tonight. We'll see you next week. Have fun. Get your soldering irons out, and we'll even have more fun. Right here on Ham Nation, the place for everybody to be, where we talk about ham radio. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
Bop,